Hello and welcome to Your Story, Your Tune. I'm so glad you're here. This is where we share real stories from listeners and viewers like you. Moments that changed everything, and the one song that became inseparable from that time. Tonight's story asks something of us all. How we find our way back when our own minds betray us, and what it costs to prove we deserve a second chance. It's raw, it's unflinching, and it's deeply human. Tonight's story comes from Fiona in Perth, Scotland, who wrote to us about the summer that nearly destroyed her, and the fight to show she's more than the worst moment of her life. This is Fiona's story. Fiona was 31 when her daughter Isla was born in June 2024. And for the first 3 days, everything felt like it should. She was a freelance illustrator, used to working odd hours in their flats overlooking the Tay. And she'd imagined motherhood would slot into her life with the same creative flexibility. Gregor, her husband, worked construction. Long days, strong hands, a steady presence. They'd been together 8 years. They were ready. But on the 4th day, something shifted. Fiona couldn't sleep. Not wouldn't, couldn't. Her thoughts raced, looping and fracturing. By day 6, she was convinced Isla had already died. The baby in the Moses basket wasn't real, she told herself. It was a test, a cruel trick. And if she could just stop the pretense, just press the pillow down and end the charade, everything would reset. Gregor found her there, hands trembling over their daughter's face, and he pulled her back, screamed her name, called 999. The paramedics came. Fiona was sectioned that night. Post-partum psychosis, the psychiatrist said. Rare, but devastating. It wasn't her fault, they told Gregor. But he'd seen her hands, and he couldn't unsee them. Fiona spent 4 weeks in the mother and baby unit in Dundee. Medicated, monitored, slowly stitching her mind back together. When she came home, Gregor was different. Cautious. Watchful. He never left her alone with Isla. Not once. The months crawled by. Fiona stabilised. She took her medication. She attended therapy. She rebuilt her work, taking on small commissions again. But Gregor's trust didn't return. In March 2026, nearly 2 years later, Gregor sat her down at the kitchen table and said he wanted a separation. He'd already spoken to a solicitor. He'd take Isla, he said. He couldn't risk it. Fiona felt the floor drop out. She begged him to wait, to let her prove she was well. She hadn't had a single relapse. Her medication was stable. Her therapist had signed off. But Gregor wasn't convinced. He offered her 1 week. He'd go stay with his brother in Inverness, and Fiona would care for Isla alone. If she managed, if nothing went wrong, he'd reconsider. If she didn't, he'd file for divorce and sole custody. It was a test, and Fiona knew it. A cruel one, maybe. But it was the only chance she had. The first night alone with Isla, Fiona barely slept. Every sound felt amplified. Every time Isla stirred, Fiona's heart hammered. The intrusive thoughts crept back. Not the psychosis, but the memory of it. the fear that it could happen again. She sat in the nursery doorway, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall, terrified to go closer, terrified to step away. By the third day, she was exhausted. Isla was teething, crying through the nights, and Fiona felt the edges of herself fraying. She called her therapist, who talked her through breathing exercises. She called her mum, who came round with soup and stayed for an hour. She didn't call Gregor. She couldn't. This had to be hers to carry. On the sixth night, Isla woke at 3 a.m, screaming. Fiona lifted her from the cot, pacing the flat, rocking her, singing softly. And in that moment, bone-tired, scared, but still there, Fiona realised something. She wasn't the woman who'd had psychosis. She was the woman who'd survived it. She'd done the work. She'd stayed on her medication. She'd shown up every single day, even when Gregor couldn't see it. Even when she couldn't see it herself. Isla quieted in her arms, her tiny hand gripping Fiona's finger. And Fiona cried, not from fear, but from something closer to relief. She could do this. She was doing this. When Gregor came back on the 7th day, Fiona met him at the door. Isla was fed, clean, happy. The flat was tidy. Fiona looked him in the eye and said, "I'm not asking you to forget what happened, but I need you to see who I am now." Gregor didn't answer straight away. He looked at Isla, then at Fiona, and finally he nodded. He wasn't ready to come home yet, he said, but he'd postpone the solicitor. They'd try counselling. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. That night, after Gregor left, Fiona sat in the quiet flat and put on a song she'd heard years ago, one that had come back to her during the hardest nights. It was about survival, about being broken and still standing. She played it on repeat, holding Isla close, and for the first time in 2 years, she felt like herself again. Fiona's story is one of the hardest kinds of courage. The courage to face what we've been through and to fight for the life we deserve on the other side. And the song that means everything to Fiona? It's Skyscraper by Demi Lovato. Due to copyright restrictions, we can't play it in this video, but it's a song about rising from the wreckage, about being pushed to the edge and finding the strength to come back. I will leave a card and a link in the description for you to enjoy Fiona's song. If you have a story you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. Until next time, this has been Your Story, Your Tune.